Number 10. The herring gull. You already know this sound. It's the classic seagull cry used in almost every beach movie and postcard. But that familiar cry is only the surface. When defending territory, a herring gull performs something called the long call. Head bowed low, then thrown straight up as a raw, raucous cry rolls out, warning every other gull nearby exactly where the boundary line is. It's one of the most recognizable bird sounds on Earth, and almost nobody knows it's actually a formal territorial declaration. Chicks even have their own distinct begging call from the moment they hatch, instantly recognizable to their parents, even in a colony packed with hundreds of other screaming families. If you're enjoying this one, go ahead and hit like and subscribe now. It genuinely helps, and we've still got 9 calls left, each one stranger than the last. Number 9, the northern gannet. On its own, this bird is fairly quiet. In a colony of tens of thousands, it's a different story entirely. Each bird gives a harsh, throaty ara-ara as it lands or defends its tiny patch of cliff, and with so many gannets crammed shoulder to shoulder, those individual calls blur into a single, continuous metallic roar that can be heard from boats far out at sea. Visitors to Britain's largest gannet colonies have described the noise as deafening even from a distance, closer to machinery than to birdsong. Some of these colonies pack tens of thousands of breeding pairs onto a single cliff face, each pair defending a territory barely larger than the span of their own wings, which is exactly why the constant ara-ara never really stops during breeding season. Number 8, the great Skua. Nicknamed the Bonksy in Britain, its harsh, barking ha-ha-ha-ha is the sound of one of the ocean's most aggressive pirates. Great skuas routinely chase down gannets twice their size in midair, grab them by the wing, and force them into the sea until they cough up their catch. They'll also dive bomb anyone, human or otherwise, who wanders too close to their nest, repeatedly and without hesitation. Its Shetland nickname, Bonksy, comes from an Old Norse word roughly meaning dumpy, a strangely gentle name for a bird capable of physically drowning another seabird just to steal its dinner. Number 7, the Atlantic Puffin. At sea, it's completely silent, but underground, inside its nesting burrow, it produces a low, mechanical growl that the Cornell Lab of Ornithology compares to a muted toy chainsaw. It's such an unexpected sound for such a small, colorful bird that first-time visitors to a puffin colony often assume the growling is coming from some kind of machinery buried in the cliffside. A single burrow can be reused by the same breeding pair for decades, sometimes passed down to their offspring, which means that growl might be echoing out of the exact same tunnel it has for generations. Number 6, the Arctic Tern. This bird will fight you, and it isn't bluffing. Its piercing, grating scream is the last warning you get before it dive bombs your head with its sharp red bill, again and again until you leave its nesting colony. And this same small bird holds the longest migration of any animal on the planet, flying pole to pole every single year, meaning it may see more daylight than any other living creature on Earth. Over a lifetime that can stretch past 30 years, a single Arctic tern may rack up more than 2 million kilometers of flight, roughly the same distance as 3 round trips to the moon. Number 5, the Sooty Shearwater. Known in New Zealand as the tit, or mutton bird. At night, breeding colonies erupt into a deep, rhythmic moaning that rises up out of thousands of underground burrows at once. For generations, Rakura Maori have harvested young TT from these same burrows in a carefully managed, sustainable tradition passed down through families. One of the only large-scale seabird harvests still practiced anywhere in the world today. Beyond New Zealand's coastline, this same bird completes one of the longest migrations ever recorded for any animal, an annual figure-8 loop around the entire Pacific Ocean, covering roughly 64,000 kilometers. Number 4, the wandering albatross. The bird with the largest wingspan on the planet. During courtship, it throws its head back and lets out a loud, groaning sky call, snapping its bill together in rapid, rattling claps. For centuries, sailors believed albatrosses carried the souls of drowned seamen, and killing one was thought to summon terrible winds, a superstition immortalized in Coleridge's The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, where a single dead albatross curses an entire crew. In real life, this bird holds the largest wingspan of any living species, over 3 meters tip to tip, letting it glide for hours across the Southern Ocean without a single flap. Number 3, the Wedge-tailed Shearwater. Known in Hawaii as the Waukani, or moaning petrel. At night, mated pairs sit face to face at their burrow entrance and perform long, eerie duets of wailing and moaning that can sound disturbingly close to a crying human infant. 18th century sailors rowing ashore for fresh water on remote Pacific islands reportedly panicked at the sound, convinced they'd stumbled onto the gates of hell itself. These duets can continue for hours, from dusk until nearly midnight, with both partners puffing up their throats to keep the eerie chorus going long after the rest of the island has gone quiet. Number 2, the Manx Shearwater. Like several birds on this list, it's totally silent at sea, but its breeding colonies come alive after dark with raucous, cackling calls that echo off sea cliffs from thousands of unseen burrows at once. Norse sailors passing islands like Rum in Scotland were so unsettled by the sound that they blamed it on trolls. The island still has a mountain named Trolloval because of it. Centuries later, Welsh pirates blamed the exact same sound on witches, and older folklore across the region linked it to the wandering souls of drowned sailors. The birds themselves are almost helpless on land, unable to walk properly because their legs sit so far back on their body, which means the same eerie calls come from creatures clumsily dragging themselves across the ground in total darkness. Number 1, the European Storm-Petrel. This is where the word storm in its name actually comes from. At night, from inside its burrow, it produces a strange, continuous purring call that one 19th century naturalist described as sounding like a fairy being sick. For centuries, sailors called this bird Mother Carey's chicken, believing its appearance signaled an incoming storm, and some considered it, quite literally, a witch or the wandering soul of a sailor lost at sea. Its Latin family name, Hydrobatidae, actually means water walker, a nod to the way it patters its feet across the ocean surface while feeding, the exact same water walking motion that once led sailors to name the entire group after St. Peter himself. Out of every haunting sound in this list, this tiny bird is the one that gave an entire family of seabirds their name. That's 10 seabird calls you genuinely won't believe are real. Which one would spook you the most if you heard it drifting off a foggy coastline at night? Drop your answer in the comments. If this list gave you chills, hit like and subscribe, because the ocean has plenty more sounds like this waiting to be ranked.